Homorazzi.com. I'm here with Larry Kennar, the creator of DTLA, and we've also got some other special guests, including Tyrell Witherspoon, also from Homorazzi. We've got Christopher Spark from New Now Next and from Logo, and of course our very special guest, Larry. How's it going today, Larry?
Very well, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Very good.
Well, we're very, very excited about the premiere of DTLA. I'm so excited. I'm sure you have been sitting on this and anticipating its premiere for quite a long time. How does it feel for it to be just around the corner now for both OUTtv in Canada and then Logo in the US?
It's unreal, I gotta tell you. We started shooting this thing a year and a half ago. I mean, wow. It's very exciting to be on this side of the fence, if you will, because it's been such a struggle for a long time. So now we're just trying to do whatever we can to make sure it's as good as possible and polished, and done all of our, things behind the scenes as well. So thank you so much. But yeah, it's very, very exciting.
When people ask you what the show is about, what is sort of your synopsis of what people can expect and what the whole show is about?
The show is about what it's like to be in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're at that point in your life where I believe you're not quite sure if what you originally thought was going to make you happy is going to make you happy. When we were, just coming into our early 20s, I feel that, we all had big dreams about what we wanted. We wanted to be rich, have the perfect house and the perfect relationship, family, all those kinds of ideals. And, myself being in my 40s, I now know that's not exactly what's going to make me happy. And I think, I'm kind of trying to capture everyone that's in the middle of it. And when you're just kind of realizing, okay, like what's life really all about? And it's also a show about a group of friends, that is very common, I believe, with a lot of people. Not everyone's straight, not everyone's gay. A lot of these guys there's a lot of gay guys for sure, but there's I'd like to sort of show that there's people are friends because they're friends, not because of their sexuality, if you will, or their gender or their race. So and it's largely based on experiences that I've had with my friends and my personal relationships, and other people in the cast and some of the writers, their experiences, and trying to pull it all together into something that's hopefully very relatable to everyone.
How did you choose the cast that you ended up with, or who did it start with? How did it evolve?
God, it started, must have been like 4 years ago, and I was going to do this show with another network, and we didn't have a deal closed, but there was all sort of goodwill discussions. And I had even, I wanted to do it in New York City, and I had auditioned some incredible actors, and then I realized I couldn't afford to shoot it there, and so I thought, well, should I fake downtown LA to be New York City, because people do it all the time, because that's where I live. And then I thought, oh, I could totally do that. And then I had just done it on another television show I produced, and then I was like, well, I was talking to some people, and one person in particular was like, why don't you just make it happen here? Just make it about here. And so then I had to recast everyone, because I couldn't really hire anyone that I could afford to fly into town. So it's been through lots of different incarnations. It wasn't until Darryl Stevens came along that really made me go, okay, now it's time to start doing this thing. Whether this network's going to do it or not, I'm going to make it myself. And I knew that if I made it, people would come, because I think that there has not been any scripted TV for with primarily gay-centric characters in a very, very long time. And I thought, what, people will watch it on the net. This is something I want to do, and it just I couldn't stop. I just kind of had to do it.
Absolutely. Let's go over to Chris. Chris, do you have any questions?
Well, about the cast, continuing with that, how do you come across, I think the actors are all uniformly excellent, but Marshall Fair is, incredibly good in this, and someone who, most people aren't familiar with, will be seeing for the first time. So how did you find her? How did she come to your attention?
Well, my casting director actually, it was funny. I had cast somebody else to play the role of SJ, and she bailed on me in the middle of the shoot. That's a story that could be told later. And I can make some money off of that one. But you know, but I'm glad, because when I say that, I mean, I was really devastated that happened, but I was like, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll spend more money. We'll reshoot. We had to reshoot a lot of.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
My question ruined it.
Or SJ came back. Oh, there we go. You cut out there for a second.
Is that normal, or should I plug into the was it me?
I think the ghost of SJ came in now, but
I can plug into the Ethernet, I think. Hold on.
Okay.
Should I do that? Maybe.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because I think it was
that horrible video. No. Was it Smash My Bitch Up? Remember that one? No. I'm a little dated there.
No, I remember that.
I'm listening. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
SJ.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So I had to recast SJ, and hold on one second. This is so unprofessional. Okay. My hair, makeup. Okay. So I had to recast SJ, and so Marshall was given to me. It was like so crazy. It was like a Monday night, and we were shooting on Tuesday, the next day, and fuck, I mean, it was like we were shooting already. We had shot the first day, so we just went back to my apartment, and the casting director just brought in like 4 girls, and I was just like, and then I had all the other actors in the room, Darryl and Matthew Herrick and Scott Priddy and Patrick McDonald. They were all like sitting in my living room, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna bring one in for every 5 minutes. Figure it out, you know. And this one girl came in. She was like this blonde chick, and she was like, and there were 2 scenes that she had to do. She's like, I don't really want to do the second one. I go, okay, thank you very much, goodbye. You know, and then she, and Marshall was just like, we were just in love. We're like, oh, she's perfect. Let's cast her now. You know, so like it was like this crazy thing. Like, let's go. We just felt so great about it. Like I'm always about a focus group. Like everyone, like I have, you know, I don't trust. I'm not saying I don't trust myself, but being a producer, you have to rely on what other people think. You have to be able to cull those opinions all the time. So I'm always like on the set. Like I want people's, you know, people go crazy. Like I'm like, what do you guys think of that? Do you think it's a funny joke or not? Who likes the joke? Who doesn't like the joke? Who's got another idea? You know, and which is great. So with these guys, I'm like, I wanted to know what they thought. If someone didn't like her, it would bother me, and I'd go, okay, why? And I would, you know, I'll do the math, and then later I'll be like, okay, you know what? I think their opinion sucks. I'm going to go with her. But it takes a while for me to choose. But this one was just immediate. So she immediately worked the next night. We just started shooting stuff with her. We reshot all the stuff, and ever since then, it's like been the best thing that's ever happened. Like people are over the moon about her. I mean, people just are so in love with her, and she's just so perfect for it. So I'm very lucky that other bitch dropped out.
And then, I mean, what about with Darryl Stevens? I mean, writing. Were you aware he was such a strong writer?
Yes, I was, because Darryl, when I had first met Darryl, he submitted a script to me just, you know, as a producer, and I really liked the writing in it so much, and I thought like he was going for something that I've always wanted to go for, which is like realistic, dramatic stories in the gay, you know, straight world, and it was really a wonderful script about 3 friends, and one was a girl, one was a straight guy, one was a gay guy, and yeah, so I knew he was a good writer. And then when we just started talking about what we wanted, you know, what I wanted to do for this, he just immediately adapted to it, and it just became like this freight train of us just like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And like some days we didn't have scripts. He goes, well, I'll write the script. I go, okay, great, you know. And it's very exciting.
And in terms of the thought process behind the nudity in the series, I got a text from Tyrell earlier today as he was just watching. He only got to see it today, and he's like, oh, there's a penis. And this is a text I got from him. But well,
that actually touches on my question. Can I ask my question?
Absolutely, go for it.
Okay, so one thing that I really noticed is that Leslie Jordan's eccentric acting or playwright character had this great monologue where he said, you know, this isn't a fluffy show. This isn't a show on logo, pardon the statement,
Right.
and that, you know, like they were good, like this was like in your face, and I think that's one thing that DTLA really showcases, that it goes for the real. And was that something that you really wanted to attempt versus, you know, what other shows have done before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like when we shot that, I was just like, that was my opinion. You know, at that time, you know, I mean, I don't know. Let's see, when we were shooting it, it wasn't when there was the announcement, you know, that they were going to go for something different over there. But it was definitely, I had to sort of a stereotype of what I thought a logo show was.
Right.
You know, which is exciting for me to be part of, hoping, you know, or what I now consider that that's not the case, you know, because they're obviously involved with my show. And I think that a lot, I pick up on conversations that people, you know, have had about certain, you know, sex scenes, the way they were done in some of the other shows, and so I just thought it would be really funny to have somebody who just, you know, could not ever stand to have it that way. And
and just go for the real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you definitely do that throughout the. So I watched the first two episodes.
I don't want to get in trouble for that.
No. But you definitely went. You definitely went for how it feels in real life throughout the entire first two episodes, which I got to watch, which I really appreciated.
Oh,
so I just wanted to
thank
let you know that I really like.
Okay, cool.
How the conversations feel real, the situations feel real, which I think is what will appeal to the audience, which I'm assuming is what you were hoping for. Correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want it to be like documentary, you know, kind of. Yeah, I mean, just really, I mean, I want it to be interesting. I want it to be interesting. I don't want it to be boring, but and there needs to be some soapiness to it, and there needs to be, you know, there's got to be some funny shit. But you know, but taking the improv nature of it is why it works so well. I mean, most of the scenes are improv, and if there's any scripting at all, it's just to hit certain points, you know. But everyone is like free to fly off the script, and yes, it's an editing nightmare, but I just love it so much. There's so many authentic moments. So
definitely.
Well, both Chris and I both got to see quite a few episodes, if not you saw the whole series, right, Chris? Yeah. So I can say to the viewers, you get really, really invested in the story and in the characters as you go along. I couldn't stop watching once I started. So how did you find that the story evolved as you were filming, in terms of what you thought, or the path that you thought it was going down, and then, you know, as these characters are improving and the scenes change, or you might see something different as they're acting it out. Are there certain ones that stick out for you in terms of how the story changed from those moments?
Oh yeah, we came up with stuff on the spot, and I mean, again, so many people were frustrated with me because I was like, I want to do this entire new sequence, like the idea of having Kevin, the character's played by Jeremy Jackson, that didn't come about till after we were finished shooting, you know, the first major chunk of everything. We did that, was part of the reshoots. I'm like, I want this storyline. I want to bring him in and to the whole show. So, you know, and I just started thinking, like, gosh, you know, I know that we're going to have problems selling the show if I don't have a straight point of view. And I wanted a straight point of view. And I was fighting it, and other people was like, no, make it gay, make it gay. And I was just like, okay, I don't know, I think I need to do this. And so I guess you could say I was a whore that I did that. But at the same time, it's something I know, and it's like something when your best girlfriend is going through a breakup with some dude, or, you know, we all are living vicariously through each other. Or, you know, I'm friends with a lot of straight guys, so I know the point of view from Kevin, you know, and I know what it's like to have a best friend that's straight. You know, a lot of my friends are straight, so I wanted to really show an authentic version of that. So to me, it was exciting, and I'm glad we did that because I think it helped us tremendously.
I don't think anyone's going to be mad at the sex appeal and also some of the sexy scenes that he's in anyway, so that was a big plus.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's all very organic stuff. We never planned that.
Oh, heat of the moment.
I mean, but speaking of the cast, I mean, was there ever any trepidation? Because, I mean, it's a large ensemble, but I mean, it works out perfectly in the end, but I mean, were there ever times where, like, how am I going to make all 8? I mean, it's basically 8 major storylines, almost, but they all work. Were you ever really nervous about that, or, I mean...
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Chris. And in fact, I was, like, thinking, well, you know what? If some of this shit doesn't work, we'll just cut it out. Like, the good news is that we've got so much, you know? And I was stunned, you know, even there are moments where after we shot certain scenes, I was like, oh, I'm sure we're going to be reshooting that scene or getting rid of it. And then, like, when the editor put it together, Kyle, my editor, and Christine, who, by the way, are the best editors in the world, they were like, I was like, oh my God, like, that came out great, you know? And we were looking at, Darryl and I were looking at this one scene, we were like, could not believe that this one scene, and it was still in the show, and how good it came out, and we thought it was so bad. Like, we just thought it was going to be, like, I can't say what it is because now I'm just being so awful. But we just, like, thought, oh, my God, it was so poorly acted, and it was so half-assed. We did it, like, in 5 minutes, you know, which was fun because that's why I was able to do so much in so little time. It's just like, let's just, you know, throw down, shoot the scene, but let's just improv it and see what comes out, you know, and as opposed to rehearsing, which we should do, but I think it would have been a very different experience, you know.
Well, I mean, and speaking of editing, like, the one, I mean, I know it's a little into the season, but, I mean, without spoiling anything, the one drag queen sequence you have is, like, the most amazing 6 minutes of editing and just captivating.
Oh, my God, thank you.
How was that? What was that?
Seen anything yet. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How long did that take?
How long did, the drag queen scene or the editing? What specifically? The song. Well, J.C. Jones, who plays Trey, is a superstar already. He's got like 30,000 followers on Twitter. I don't know how the fuck that happened. But I'm going to tell you this. He performs at all these different clubs throughout the country, and you know, he's kind of like a Chris Brown, you know, like kind of as far as style, not so much, you know, personal life. But not yet, at least we pray. No, but anyway, that's his song. He wrote and created that song, and so I thought, let's use your song. Like, I want to do whatever I can to promote all the wonderful talent that's around me, you know. So I was like, let's, you know, so that he wrote the song. In fact, we're shooting a music video for it next week.
Ooh.
And we hope that Logo and Out will air it. How about that? It's gonna be. We have a fast version. We have 2 dance mix versions, and it's gonna be a bunch of drag queens marching down the street like Pep and Atar style.
I love it.
Probably a little young for that one.
One of the things I noticed as I was watching the series was that I could really relate to it. It felt very current. Felt like a lot of the things that, you know, my age group or just even in today's society, that what a lot of people are dealing with. And I compared that to, you know, the last gay series that I watched, which was Queer as Folk, a long time ago, and I was a lot younger. The time period was very different, and I loved that show because it was a gay show, and you know, I was gay, and I was a culture that I was not yet exposed to, but now, like I said, I feel like this one is more today, and I think a lot of people are going to relate to it. How would you speak to the comparisons that I think that people are going to make in terms of DTLA and Queer as Folk, in terms of how they relate and that sort of thing?
Well, do you have some examples of comparisons that you've heard?
Well, one thing that I noticed for sure, first of all, is that like between Queer as Folk and DTLA, the one thing that rings very apparent in appearance is that it's way more multicultural than Queer as Folk ever was. Like, hands down. Was that intentional, or did that just happen with the talent that you found?
There are no good white actors, you know that, honey. No, I mean, there was a point where somebody told me that I had too many black people in my show. Like, are you serious? And I was like, oh God, we gotta get some white dudes in this show. Well, yeah, I mean, that is a difference. I mean, that is a difference, and you know, I was always, you know, led to believe that, you know, keep it really milquetoast because that's what most of the gays want. I'm like, I don't think that's true, you know. And I mean, and people will say, you know, that's why, you know, that show in particular worked, and I just think it's because it was a show that was created in England, so it's, you know, the U.S. version. You know, I think it affected a lot of people I talked to. They just said like that was everything to them, and it made me go, oh God, maybe I should be writing more like. So I was like, maybe I should change some of my stories. Like I didn't realize till later like how. I mean, I knew how impactful the show was, but I started thinking, oh my God, like someone told me once, like, you know, there's the character that doesn't think he's ever going to be in love. And I'm like, oh fuck, I better go back and fuck somebody up. So, so I really appreciate some of those things, and I didn't think about some of the most basic themes when I did my show, but I thought about like everything's based on real situation, but yeah, it is different. I mean, I think it's different. I mean, for obvious reasons on the skin color, and I also think it's a different point of view. I mean, look, I read some things, about people laughing about the location, and I read things where people said there's no scene downtown. There's no scene. I'm like, what's a scene? To me, it's like I guess there is kind of a scene, but and so there was a lot of people were kind of. I say there were some people that I think took great offense to the fact that West Hollywood was not the location.
Right.
And I think that's interesting. It's good to know, because I think there has been like a lot of anger with gentrification that has happened in West Hollywood, and that you go into a gay club and now it's all straight people because everyone's so accepting, and I think there are people that are mad about stuff like that. But I'm just writing from my experience, and my experience was I did not live in West Hollywood. I don't think I would want to live in an area where there was only. I shouldn't say only gay people. I don't think I would only want to live just around one kind of thing. And I think that's an experience that has bonded a lot of people. And I think that's why Queer as Folk is so powerful. And it was definitely amazingly groundbreaking. So I feel lucky that I can do something like this. Now, if it wasn't for Queer as Folk, I don't think I'd be able to do this. And some television networks might have said, well, you know what, it's too multi-ethnic or, whatnot. And I have gotten those comments, but I just, I like not white people. I like white people too, but I definitely like my non-whites.
This is just a lighting. I'm a lot darker usually.
Amazing.
Does anybody have any other questions that they want to ask right now?
Well, I mean, can you talk about working with Lunel in New York, who are so amazing and just hysterical, and especially Lunel, though, I think, because she has, one episode where the first episode she's hysterical, and then she's heartbreaking in the next episode, and that's something you don't really ever see from her. So, I mean, those two girls are amazing. And New York, who everyone probably thinks wouldn't even be able to act, is so good.
Yeah. You know what's so great is I had such a. What's really fun is to I highly recommend it. Create your own TV show and hire the people you're fans of and your friends. Like Lunel and I have known each other for 10 years, and in fact we created a television series that almost was a go at HBO, which is like a Black Golden Girls, but meets Richard Pryor. It was her, Loretta Devine, and Kim Whitley, and it was like so great. But anyway, so we've been close for a long time because I saw her stand up, and I've always wanted to work with her. And I also know that Lunel grew up in the Bay Area, and the gays were her thing. She went through, that period in San Francisco, during the AIDS crisis. Like, she was there, and she lost a lot of friends, and she's always said, like, a lot of people look at me as just being sort of the comedic one, the black comic in a certain way that might not be connected so much with gay culture. And I was like, well, let's just have fun with this. So anyway, Tiffany, I've known, I've always wanted to work with her. She always is so lovely and so funny as a person. She's got a real heart to her, and I just was kind of like, let's just be ourselves. And you'll see the scene at the dinner table. I said, what would you make for dinner, Lunel? What would you make? She said, well, I would make fried chicken. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to shoot it with fried chicken, And if people are going to get mad, you know what? It's your fault. But I don't know if how many of you have seen that scene, but anyway, that's so to me, I really wanted to show that I wanted to take the core of the show and start going into different areas. Like, I knew if I went into the sort of pop culture, I call it the VH1 pop culture world, or the comedy world, or the urban comedy world, that everything is kind of loosely connected to what I think the core audience likes.
Yeah.
So I feel like I really kind of went out to the different quadrants as much as I could for a gay series, and I think it still works. Like, everyone feels from my show when we were shooting it, like, oh my God, this is all over the place. Well, I feel it all has a harmony to it.
Yeah. And also, the amazing Scott Pretty, who I got to interview, who is, I mean, straight guys playing gay is one thing, but he really had to invest and go for it, and is so proud of it. and it was so great talking to him. What was it like working with an actor like that who I feel like isn't looking for any sort of medals or prize for playing a gay actor, but just gave a completely realistic performance?
He is so gay, by the way. I'm sorry. I don't know what. No, I don't. You know what's funny? I've noticed that people in this younger generation, because I'm not in it anymore, sad to say, don't seem to put, again, like it's very logo, no labels. Okay, out. I don't know what your logo is, but out is out. But out is in, but people are out. That's what I meant. I didn't mean it was out like it's not in. Okay. Whoa. Okay. But no, you know, it's funny. There are other actors on the show that are playing gay that aren't gay, and I've talked a lot about like, oh, should we say it's none of anyone's business, or should we let them say what they want to say? But with Scott, it's like it's so exciting not only to see somebody who doesn't ever think that way. He never thinks like for 1 second like, oh, this is weird, I'm playing gay. He just like wants to play like this lovely guy who adores this other dude, and that's how he looks at it. And then and I don't want to stereotype, but he's from the Midwest, St. Louis, Missouri. He definitely comes from, I would say, very middle America, and then to see his mom, write in on our Facebook page going, I'm so proud of my son. And to see a woman whose son is straight who says that, like, I don't know. I think it's so wonderful. At the same time, I've just noticed the younger generation, in the 20-something generation, people just don't seem to care. I think it's like from college onward, people are friends, whether the labels just aren't there, and it doesn't matter. So it seems, I've noticed it's less of a big deal with the younger generation. So it's a combination of me not being so surprised because of what I'm seeing in the younger generation, then meets this, wow, that is so cool, because I think it's amazing, and it makes me really happy. But yeah, he's just a super guy and an excellent actor. Yeah.
Excellent. Tyrell, anything?
No, all my questions have been answered, so I'm good to go.
Awesome. And
Thanks,
Chris,
guys.
anything else?
Well, I guess I'll do one more. Can you talk about, I think the biggest, sorry, I know. The biggest coup on the series we haven't talked about is Sandra and Melanie. So how did that work out? Because that's, amazing and huge, and they're both great.
Have you seen that scene? Those scenes?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
That scene is one of the best scenes in the entire.
Oh my
People,
god!
Get ready for what is it? Episode 6 or 7?
It's in episode 8.
8. Okay, get ready.
Oh, this is beyond my knowledge.
I could share the preview right now on my screen if you guys shared my screen. Bad. God, well, Chris, first of all, I'm so glad that you've seen all the episodes.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm dying to know what you think about the season finale. Did it work or not? Did it work?
It worked. It worked. It was.
Okay. It's crazy. Okay, anyway.
It was great.
Okay, good. Thank you. I just wanted. I don't know what it's like, guys, to have other people see everything. Like seriously, that this is like the first time I've actually talked to somebody who has watched the entire series that hasn't been part of my group. So, thank you. Okay, the question: what was it like to work with them? Well, first of all, Sandra Bernhard is just such an amazing doll face. Mwah! I love her. I just love her. I love everything she says. I like seeing her postings during the debates. I've known Sandra because she was on the L Word, which I was a producer on, and I've always kept in touch with her. And then one of my producing partners, Helene Shaw, this is such one of those wonderful moments. Helene, who's Paul Mooney's manager, she used to represent Sandra 35 years ago. She put her in the Kings of Comedy. And so I reconnected them. And it was very exciting. Sandra and I started tweeting each other, and she said she really wanted to do something cool. So I got her involved in this. And then I said, we have to have someone play your wife or your ex-wife. I said, and the kind of person that I want is I want someone who's like an ex sort of, groupie type, like from Hollywood, And I said, I kind of see like Melanie Griffith, like if I could choose, that's who it would be. And then she was just like, oh, Mel Griffin. Mel is so great. Mel is like, I tweet with her on Twitter. She's awesome. Let's go with Mel Griffin. I'm like, okay. let's go to the Griffin, you know. And then I met Melanie at Sandra's performance, and I kind of cornered her, and I said, Sandra wants you to be her wife. And so in this show, and she was like, I think it sounds wonderful. And she was so cool. She was, here, take my number. And then she's like, let's do it tomorrow at my house. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then Sandra comes up and goes, no! Let's do it tomorrow. You know, that's ridiculous. You know? And it was so random, and it was so cool. So anyway, ultimately, we ended up doing it a few weeks later, and it just was, like, so cool. I mean, I got them to do it, you know, for minimum, you know, and they didn't care about that. They just cared about the work. And again, like, I wrote the scene that they did, it was loosely written, and they did their own improv to it. And there's a couple of scenes, you know, but anyway, so I just was so blessed, and they were so easy. And God, my God, Melanie was so cool. Like, I mean, Sandra is just I already know her, but I didn't know Melanie, and Melanie was like, didn't care about hair and makeup. She's like, I don't care anymore. And I go, we're gonna make you look great. Like, we're gonna do it. You know, we're gonna, and she's very pleased with how it came out. So that was really, yeah, that was definitely the icing on the cake. And I hope that I can do more of that, you know, with the second season. I think, especially, you know, I was able to do that without having a network, and I think if I have a network now, I mean, who knows what I can do? You know, maybe I can get Sharon Stone.
It was the most amazing scene I've ever seen in an antique furniture store in my life.
Right, that's the furniture store. Well, actually, it's based on a real character whose store this woman designs. Her name is Cindy Rocker, and if you go on her, I'm going to give her a plug. If you go on her website, Diva Rocker Glam, she designs Steven Tyler's, CeeLo's, Nicki Minaj. Like, she's a real rock and roll kind of. Her stuff is like ice sculpture-y, like furniture, and you know, it's very over the top, but it's really cool. And so she has a store on Sunset, and she's a friend, and she let us use it. And Melanie's character, Kimberly, is based kind of, you know, loosely on like, just because she worked in that place, you know. So that was a real place. It looks like it is. I guess it is antique in a weird way.
I mean, yeah,
it's goth kind of, right?
Yeah.
Gothic, I guess. But so anyway, that's the scoopity doo-dah.
Excellent. Do you want to give a little plug to the premiere on both networks?
Yes, please.
Okay, go for it.
I want to first of all say, if it wasn't for Out Television, I would not be here. They really believed in this, just based on my word and my intention, and I didn't have to show them anything, and they just got behind this, and I was able to, because of them, raise enough money to get my feet on the ground on this project. So I'm very excited that OUTtv is presenting this show on October 24th, Wednesday night, 11 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Central. Is that correct?
It would be 9 Central if it was 11 Pacific.
It's 11 Pacific?
Check your local listings.
Okay, so anyway,
I know that we're 11 Eastern, 10 Central. So if we're
that's right. Okay, and then it's just been so great that you guys work, so the Out and Logo have such a great partnership, and when Logo was interested in this, and the fact that the idea of the two of them having a dual, you know, premiere or a North American premiere, I just feel so lucky. So, and everyone at Logo has just been incredible and so supportive. So yes, we are on U.S. television with Logo on October 24th, Wednesday night at 11 o'clock. And it'll be every Wednesday up until before Christmas. And it'll also be on logotv.com. And we will also be on iTunes. And I know it's going to be on OUTtv's services as well. But so we're going to have lots of ways for people to see it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and to tell us all of the behind-the-scenes stuff. And it was great to hang out with you guys. We've got Chris all the way from New York, and we're here in Vancouver, and I'm guessing you're in DTLA?
I mean, you'll never know. It's a motel room somewhere. Yeah, I know. I'm downtown.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll be posting this, I think, on OUTtv. It'll be online through the social media networks. We'll have it on Homorazzi, and I think Logo will have it as well. So
yes, we'll have a new now next.
Excellent.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, you guys. Nice meeting you all. Thanks for your support.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
Have a great weekend, guys.
All right, you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.